Good day. This is Global Watch on your digital First Pan-African News Network, TOS Television. I am Abigail OKUNADE. The trial of Derek Chauvin, the white policeman accused of killing George Floyd, a black man last year May, has begun on Monday. Chauvin was recorded in Minneapolis kneeling on the neck of Floyd for more than 9 minutes. The incident made people protest in the United States and across the world against police brutality and racism. His charges include second-degree murder, which carries a sentence to up to 40 years in prison. Chauvin has been fired from the police but has pleaded not guilty to the crime. Family and friends of George Floyd held a vigil and prayer in Minneapolis in preparation for the trial. They said that George must get justice ahead of opening arguments. Chauvin's lawyer, Eric Nelson, is to argue that the police officer was following police procedure and claimed that Mr. Floyd's death was due to an overdose of drug and underlying medical conditions. The 14 selected jurors are seated in court, listening to the start of the trial, but will remain off camera. Throughout the trial, the jurors will remain anonymous because of the security and safety concerns linked to the high-profile cases. The jury is made up of 15 jurors, which are 6 white women, 2 white multiracial women, 1 black woman, 3 black men, and 3 white women, including 2 alternates and 1 backup. 10 of them are under the age of 50, 5 are in their 50s. The youngest is in the 20s and the oldest in the 60s. The 400-meter-long ever-given giant ship that blocked the Suez Canal for nearly a week has been finally freed. The Egyptian authorities say it was not immediately clear when full traffic could resume in the canal. It was reported that the Suez Canal blockage has been causing a traffic jam of vessels that could be spotted 65 kilometers from the canal's southern entrance in the Red Sea. Suez is one of the world's busiest trade routes, and companies were forced to reroute ships, causing long tailbacks of hundreds of vessels. Peter Bradowski, CEO of Dutch salvage company BLOCKAGE, said the Ever-Given had been refloated at about 1:05 GMT on Monday, thereby making free passage through the Suez Canal possible again. Evergreen Line said the Ever-Given container ship would be inspected for seaworthiness after being dislodged. Taiwan-listed Evergreen, which is leasing the ship, said decisions regarding the vessel's cargo would be made after the inspection and that it would coordinate with the ship's owner after investigation reports were completed. The incident has caused more strain on the economy as the canal is responsible for about 15% of the world's shipping traffic transits the Suez Canal. Shipping rates for oil product tankers nearly doubled after the ship became stranded, and the blockage has disrupted global supply chains, threatening costly delays for companies already dealing with COVID-19 restrictions. The stoppage is costing the canal $14 to $15 million a day. On Monday, more than 900 residents of nearby Balonga village moved to 2 evacuation centers after a massive fire broke out at the Pertamina Balongan refinery in Indonesia's West Java province, officials said. The Indonesian authorities have urged residents to remain calm and stay away from the fire. 4 people got injured while passing through the area. They suffered burns and are treated at the regional hospital, the local disaster mitigation agency said. According to the authorities, the cause of the fire was not clear, but there was lightning and heavy rain at the time the massive fire broke out. Reports on television showed explosions as black smoke and orange flames filled the sky. The fire appeared localized at a set of 4 tanks in the middle of the refinery. The fire was concentrated in the refinery storage unit, and there had been no impact on the processing plant, Pertamina said. The Balongan plant has a refining capacity of about 125,000 barrels of crude oil a day. It supplies fuels to Jakarta, Banten, and some regions of West Java. There have been series of airstrikes on the country's borders by Myanmar's military. This has made villagers flee to Thailand in large numbers. According to Free Burma Rangers, an agency that gives medical and other assistance to villagers, aircraft owned by Myanmar military struck twice overnight on Sunday into morning. A member of the agency said these strikes possibly injured 1 person, but caused no apparent fatalities. On Sunday, about 3,000 people crossed the river dividing the two countries into Thailand. Videos show a group of villagers, including many young children, resting in the forest inside Myanmar after fleeing from their houses. On Monday, Prayut Chan-o-cha, the Prime Minister of Thailand, talked about the problems along Thailand's western border and said his government is preparing for a possible influx of people. On Monday, protesters and mourners took to the streets of Myanmar amid reports of security forces killing 3 people in Yangon, just 2 days after 114 people were killed on the bloodiest day since the February 1 military coup. A man was killed and several others wounded when security forces fired on one Yangon neighborhood, media and a witness said. You are watching Global Watch. Coming up next, Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison reshuffles cabinet amid sex scandal. This and more after the break. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. You are watching Global Watch on your digital first Pan-African news network, TOS Television. The Prime Minister of Australia, Scott Morrison, has reshuffled some important cabinet members as he tries to address some of the sexual misconduct scandals that have happened under his government. Morrison has removed ministers Christian Porter and Linda Reynolds from their positions. Porter, who was the Attorney General, had earlier taken mental health leave after revealing being accused of raping a 16-year-old girl 33 years ago. Linda Reynolds was removed from the defense portfolio, but she will also remain in cabinet as government services minister. Reynolds, who was the defense minister, had been criticized for not supporting a young staffer who allegedly was raped by a more senior colleague 2 years ago. Michaelia Cash will become the new Attorney General and Peter Dutton will take over as the Defense Minister. Porter will be reassigned to Industry Minister, while Reynolds will become the Government Services Minister. The Prime Minister also announced he was starting a new cabinet task force which would help address women's equality, safety, economic security, health and well-being. He said the changes would mean that the cabinet would have the strongest ever representation of women and would bring more female representatives into senior levels of government. I have very capable women operating in very important portfolios, he said. One of France's biggest pharmaceutical firms, Servier Laboratory, was found guilty of aggravated deception and manslaughter and involuntary injury after one of its drugs was prescribed as a diet pill and blamed for the deaths of hundreds of people. A French court has fined them 2.7 million euros for covering up the dangerous side effects of the popular drug mediator. The company was accused of endangering the lives of patients by allowing its diabetic drugs to be widely and irresponsibly prescribed as a diet pill. The drug is suspected to be the cause of 2,000 deaths. It has also been linked to heart and lung problems. Dr. Jean-Philippe Seta, who is an executive of the company, is to be sentenced to 3 years in jail and to pay a fine of 278,000 euros. The CEO and founder of Servier Laboratory, Jacques Servier, was indicted early in the legal process but died in 2014. A company in Abu Dhabi will start making Sinopharm's COVID-19 vaccine later in the year. The manufacturing will be under a joint venture between the Chinese pharmaceuticals company and a technology company in Abu Dhabi. This will help expand China's diplomacy and help the Emirates in economic diversification. The venture is an expansion of Chinese diplomacy in the Gulf region and helps the United Arab Emirates' quest to diversify its economy away from the hydrocarbon production. The new plant is being built in the Khalifa Industrial Zone of Abu Dhabi. According to the joint venture, 200 million doses will be produced in a year, but no details were given about how long production will continue there. The vaccine will be called Hayat Vax when produced in the Emirates, but is still the same inactivated vaccine from the Beijing Institute of Biological Production, a unit of Sinopharm's China National Biotech Group that the UAE approved for general use in December. The UAE, through G42, hosted Phase 3 clinical trials of the Sinopharm vaccine from July, which later expanded to other countries in the region, including Bahrain. The UAE approved the vaccine for frontline workers in September before making it available to the general public in December. And that is it on Global Watch for today. For more updates, do visit our website at www.costvnetwork.com to follow and like our social media handles on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And remember to subscribe on YouTube. I am Abigail OKUNADE. Remain safe.